Hi everyone and welcome to OG Cars, and in today's video we're going to see if the Wartburg Knight is going to make it to Rustival. Now admittedly you can see it here, it's up on its side with the bonnet up, and I've been underneath this already for several hours doing a bit of work on it. So let's see what we've done so far. So what I've been doing is lying underneath here doing all of the fuel lines, because when I was driving the Wartburg the other day it became my daily, because the Citroen AX is actually sold. It became my daily for a few days because I was meant to have a new daily, which unfortunately is also broken, so that'll be another video to explore at some point. But basically, as I say, this became the daily, and it was about 3 days in, and it was continuously getting a bit worse at higher revs, and on the last day it would barely drive me home. It got most of the way home and then it just kept stopping. Basically it gradually started becoming sort of like lower revs, it was dying out, and to start with I was wondering if it was my dynamo issue coming back, but I have actually fitted a new dynamo from a Morris Minor, because that's actually what this has been converted to before, with one of the external voltage regulators as well, so I thought I'd keep everything the same, and it seems to be working, it seems to be charging, so that's fine. But I clearly had another issue. I ordered some new spark plugs, but it seemed to be more of a fuel delivery thing, because it would just sort of stop, wouldn't start for a little bit, and then it would go. And to start with, it would literally sort of cut out for a millisecond and then come back. So I thought, okay, you know, maybe there's something. But ultimately it got to a point where it would not restart very easily at all, and I could be cranking over for a few seconds, and obviously coming up the hill is just a bit of a nightmare. So I got underneath and the fuel filter was absolutely full of rubbish. So what I've done is I've changed the fuel filter. I thought the pump might be weak, so I've given that a clean out, but looking at the tank and the lines, I think my problem lies there instead of the pump. So what I've done is I've replaced all of the rubber fuel lines, blown through the metal pipe at the front and blown through the nylon pipe at the back. I've tried to obviously empty the tank and get rid of the worst of the stuff, but I don't want to go too crazy before Rustival, actually removing the tank, properly cleaning it and putting it back in, because I don't want to disturb anything inside. So what I'm going to do is fill it up with some fresh fuel and hope for the best. Apologies, the light isn't so good under here because the light is sort of above the car and that way, but I've turned the torch on the phone there. I've just cleaned out the carb as best I can as well. I've just taken the top piece off, didn't want to go for like a full rebuild because I don't have all the gaskets, but yeah, I've taken the top off, cleaned the fuel out. There's a bit of crud in the bottom of there, so cleaned that out and cleaned all of the jets out as well. So hopefully when it all goes back together, it'll now all be fine. Well, everyone who joined us on the A40 just before the Monmouth Tunnel, and G said, "Oh, what's that sound?" I thought it was just another place that wind was coming in, because there's a few places, you know, where it comes in already. Turns out the pulley on the top of the engine, which basically there's a shaft which has the fan and the water pump on the back of it, and the front of it, the pulley has just come into two, and the fan belt's going wee, wee, wee. So yeah, unfortunately I've got no cooling, and obviously Monmouth to, well, it's an hour and a half. It ain't gonna happen. So what we're gonna do now, we've already called Rescue My Car, not our first rodeo, and we are going to get towed back hopefully quite soon, because we would still like to make Rustival. Admittedly, I don't think we're going to be in the Vandenplas section anymore.
I don't even know if we're going to be in the other area.
We're going to be in the area, hopefully. That's the plan, just being in the area so that we can see everyone else's lovely cars that actually made it, hopefully. But yeah, the plan is to come back, get in the Saxo, and G can fly us up there, can't you? So yeah, let's see what happens next. We are safely dropped off, so I'm just going to pull everything out now. We're going to jump in the Saxo and try and get up there in that instead. Well, you join us on the M5, and noticeably in not a Wartburg, but a Citroen Saxo VTR. Of course, it's our Phase 1 Saxo as featured on the channel. He's just run out of windscreen washer fluid as well, so that's great. So yeah, we'll have to pop some in, but at least this car actually drives, because the Wartburg, well, while it drives, it doesn't have any water pump because of that pulley being broken. So we're now on the M5, almost at the British Motor Museum. So I'll go down the M5 to the M40 afterwards. So join us at Rustival in the Saxo. And we've finally arrived at Rustival. G, what time is it? Just gone 1 p.m. I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, 1 p.m. We're parked next to a very nice Alpha 33 S16 valve. I quite like these after the Italy trip when Luke had that 33. That was very nice. So I'd like to try one at some point, but similar in a way to the Alphas. Fat box style engine. Right, shows over there. Onwards. With parcel shelf and mud flap in tow. And already, literally a few cars down, we've got a Twingo Mark 1 and a Cinquecento Sporting as well. It's looking good. So if you're wondering why I'm carrying a parcel shelf and a mud flap, it's because these were some little items for some people at the show. The mud flap was for Sam, who's actually featured in several videos now for his Wartburg night, as seen in the Scotland pickup video, and the parcel shelf was for Czech on a Trek's Skoda Favourite. If you don't know anything about Czech on a Trek, they are doing a charity run to the Czech Republic, and you can check them out on Instagram and Facebook, so that's definitely worth doing. Now, speaking of worth doing, the show was really good. There were so many cars and they were all on our level. They were all the sort of style that we love. It's almost like that photo style where you've got just like the cars that you just the cars you don't see anymore, the classic and retro cars that almost just got forgotten about but are now appreciated in this sort of niche club. And it's just a really nice place to be, and obviously we've met a lot of friends there and made new friends as always, and it's great to speak to everyone there. So big thanks to all of our friends for coming over and saying hello, especially considering we got there so late. But speaking of getting there late, we are just so happy as well that the Wartburg decided to conquer where it did, because we were right next to a park zone and just managed to jump in there, and the transporter could just scoop us straight up and take us back. Obviously this did set us back many hours, and as I say, we left at like 7 o'clock or whatever, and we were meant to be there at sort of like night. That was going to get us in for like 8:30, 9, but unfortunately, with everything going on, we didn't get back home till gone 11 a.m. and we managed to get to Birmingham in the Saxo just gone 1 p.m. So I say Birmingham, Gaydon, Merc Museum, but yes, it was obviously a bit of a struggle getting around all the cars in that time, especially as cars were allowed to leave from about 2 p.m. and I think a few managed to slip out a bit earlier. So trying to get around to all of the cars was a mission, but we did actually manage it. We did do a really quick run round before we said hello to some other people. A highlight of ours is the Yugo Sana, and Ollie DaCosta Evans owns a 1990 Yugo Sana in red, but there was another one there. There was a Yugo 1.4 GL, which I thought was quite exciting, and now I've decided I need one of these. I did decide this before, but Ollie unfortunately won't trade me his Sana for one of my projects, but alas, there we go. Maybe I'll get it one day. But yes, it was a really good show. Lots of great people, lots of great cars, and honestly, I'd really recommend this to anyone. A massive thank you to Hubnut, of course, Furious Driving, and Steph from iDriver Classic as well, and all the other volunteers and organisers that put this on, and to the British Motor Museum, because it all went really well, flawlessly, and a great show for everyone. So hopefully they keep doing this year on year, and you never know, maybe next year we'll actually make it into the show in a car and it won't break down. Speaking of breaking down, there was this lovely sign that said, "Congratulations, you didn't break down," but obviously I did, so here I am with said sign. We must admit we did want this video to be a little bit longer, a bit more in depth at the show, but we do apologise, it's not. Unfortunately, of course, our planned arrival time was about 9 a.m. and we got in at 1 p.m. so we lost 4 hours, and we ended up being there from 1 p.m. to 4 p.m. so obviously we were there for 3 hours, and basically all the cars had gone by that point as well. So of course those 4 hours, unfortunately, we couldn't use to do anything else with. But we hope you've enjoyed this video anyway. If you want to see some photos, then I do have pictures of my favourites up on Fendi Photography on Facebook as well, so please check those out there. Please like, comment and subscribe to the channel so that you can keep an eye on the next things here as well. Like, comment and subscribe, and we'll see you all in the next one.